Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door. There is nothing more annoying than finding a knot in your earphones 5 seconds as the counter counts down. Welcome along to the Championship preview and predictions show. I can hear myself now. Great. For round 33. Goodness me, is that the right number? I think it is. Someone will correct me within about 2 seconds. If it's not, we are going to predict each and every one of the championship games coming up this weekend. And please get your ideas in. Most of my predictions are mine, but there are times where I just literally go with the consensus when I'm not entirely sure what's going down, which is some of the time, isn't it? Let's say hello in the comments. Wow. The earliest super chat in history, Anthony Legend. Thank you very much, sir. £4.99 super chat. We will drink to that. What do we got in here? Shaney on the ball, City. Owen, nervous, no doubt. Forest Derby tonight. Liam, welcome. Steve, Titch. Liam, George, the great Benjamin Bloom. I can live with that. Eli, Gaza, thank you, Countdown Music. Thank you. Normally people complain when I change the music. People don't like change, do they? Hello, how are you? Tyler, welcome. I'm good, mate. Iain, watcher. Mr. E, nothing more than annoying one. He had the worst, the absolute worst. Have you heard anything from your club fans? I've heard a lot about Mark Ashton. Jeffrey, DM me about that one. Great to join you, says Josh. Well done. Evening, Owen. He's off in Oz, I think, isn't he? Bees Knitting Team was. Right, let's get into this. Nervous but excited. That sums up the entire existence of a championship fan, doesn't it? And that's what we all are. Right, who are we saying thank you to? It's the preview show, so we're saying thank you to the Donovan brothers in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, lifelong Millwall fan, and Myra of this show. The Donovans are our fan sponsor for this show. Thank you so much to the Donovan brothers. And I would plug King of the Bin, but I can't because Anthony is already the King of the Bin. But you can, like Anthony, super chat and support directly via that method during the broadcast. Patreon, straight after this on a Friday. We get Patreon exclusive, just the predictions and a short version of what I'm doing right now. That's Patreon exclusive. Q&A was yesterday. Going to be filming more classics reviewed with Dave next week. And in talks at the moment for the next Patreon exclusive show, which we're just fleshing it out now. Could be a real good one. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and you see that, click on it. And particularly on YouTube, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Let's have a look at this weekend of championship fixtures. As I said, it is round 33. Wow, 14 rounds to go. And here are our fixtures. Brian Clough Derby tonight. Derby v Forest. We'll be watching along from 7:30. That's already planned on the stream, so you can hit a reminder for that. Bournemouth versus Watford. So plenty to talk about in those first two. Brilliant stuff. Barnsley versus Millwall. Barnsley on a tear. Birmingham versus QPR. Birmingham, first win in a while for them. QPR, well, stabilised a bit, but still on a fine run. Blackburn Coventry. We can already call that the Roy Wegley derby, can't we? Kevin Gallagher derby. Anyway, Brentford versus Stoke. Interesting. Luton, Sheffield Wednesday. Good round this. Middlesbrough versus Cardiff. Another Neil Warnock derby. Preston versus Huddersfield. Rotherham versus Reading. Getting the bin sofa score. Always refreshes at the most inopportune moment, doesn't it? Swansea versus Bristol City. The M4 seven-side derby. Wickham versus Norwich is on Sunday. Maybe we will watch along with that one as well. And that is where we will start. Wickham versus Norwich City. Get your predictions in the chat. And we don't get it very often. Top against bottom. But doesn't just mean we have to go simplistic league table thing. Obviously, if we look, Norwich push in for 3 times 23, nearly 3 times as many points as Wycombe. So pretty much for every 1 point Wycombe score, Norwich get about 2.66, I think, if anyone's good at quick math like that. Could be an interesting game for a couple of reasons. I just need to present some kind of jeopardy so we don't just think it's Norwich turn up and win again, which they may well do. But Wycombe were close in the previous game, weren't they? I think it was was it the one where Vrancic put the free kick in? It was a late goal. But Wycombe are the sort of team that will be a pretty irritating opponent for Norwich in respects of, they'll play direct. They won't have much of the ball. They'll sit in a low block and they will create chances with Ikpezu's power and sort of McClary or Horgan being able to dribble. Obviously, if it goes to form, Norwich will win. But there are ways that Wycombe will be able to disrupt the Canaries. Let's have a quick look at the home and away stakes. Wycombe are the 23rd. I think we can see where this is going, best home team. And Norwich are the best away team with 4 points more accumulated than anybody else in the division. Let's have a look at the predictions in the chat. What are we saying here? Wycombe will get a result, 2-2. The Mehmeti Derby, that is niche, Sophie. I love that. Brilliant stuff. Norwich to win by 1 as normal. Draw, in all seriousness, 3-1 Norwich. The Paul Lambert and Russ Martin Derby. Can we go with Russ Martin and have as few mentions of Paul Lambert as we can? Norwich, draw, Norwich. Draw. There you go. Thank you. 2.91 points for every 1 point Wycombe get. Wycombe beat us, Reading. Yes, they did. They did indeed. Wycombe have done better lately, but Norwich fans are moaning about the performance when they win 3-1 away. The haves and the have-nots. Yeah, first world problems. Indeed. Norwich won't think it's going to be easy like the home game when we scored early. Draw, Norwich, Wycombe. Draw, Norwich with an 85th minute free kick to win in the last meeting. Norwich 3-2. Buendia red card. Yeah, that's the thing. All Swansea and Watford fans are thinking about up at the top there. I think Norwich are going to win. I think they're in that cruise mode now. So away for me. Obviously, Wycombe will make it tricky, but you just think Norwich will have enough of the ball and enough possession. We'll watch along. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'll go for a Norwich away win in that one. Wycombe might score. Let's just say Wycombe might well score in that one. Right, Brentford, who bounced back like Alan Partridge. Brentford versus Stoke. Get your predictions in. Game number 2 is Brentford versus Stoke. So Brentford bounced back from 3 straight defeats against Sheffield Wednesday. Stoke had 2 straight wins and lost at Barnsley. So a little bit of a swing over the last game in form. And it's tricky with Stoke when you're talking about form because obviously it had been bad. Then you get a 2-game win streak and a defeat. So, now I can say, 7 points in 5. Decent enough. Brentford obviously only 6 points in the last 5, but they got the losing streak done. And the theory with Brentford now is press for success. And we know Stoke don't press. And we know Sheffield Wednesday didn't press. You think Stoke will sit in shape, don't you? So it could be a good matchup for Brentford, this one. Let's have a look at the homes and aways before we get to your ideas in the comments. Brentford are the 4th best home team in the division on points accumulated. 4 wins in the last 5, you can see up there. 2 defeats against Barnsley and against Preston. Go figure. 2 good pressing teams there. And Stoke's away form, ouch. 3 points in the last 5. Only 4 wins all season. See what you guys are saying in the chat here on Brentford versus Stoke. Stoke don't play anywhere near Barnsley-style hoofball. That's Tyler's words, not mine. Draw 3-2. Brentford, Stoke, Brentford, Rhinewood's derby. Nice. Stoke played similar to Barnsley and Mayhew. They won't press Brentford. They'll sit in shape, especially away from home. The draw masters. Stoke, hopefully, says Ewan. Brentford could keep another clean sheet, having tightened up. Yeah, so Winston Reid started, didn't he? Rico Henry's now out for a while, so expect to see Sørensen left back, Reid and Pinnock. That may be the best permutation without Pontus Jansson. Draw Brentford, draw Brentford, Brentford, draw Brentford, 2-2, 3-1. A Stoke to upset Brentford. As always, I say, please try not to pick results based on how they will help out your team. Let's try and get some credibility into these predictions here. We'll try our best here. Draw, Brentford, home, Brentford, draw. Brentford, this could be another shocker. And I think we are there with all of the predictions. There we go. 2-1 Stoke, Brentford, draw. I think Stoke will sit off. I honestly do. I think they'll stay in shape. Last time Stoke played a team that plays with flow, they lost 4-1 to Norwich. So if those patterns of play persist, home, Brentford get the win. Ivan Toney came back quite early, didn't he, to finish the Wednesday game, which makes a big difference. Mark Conde's back for Brentford as well. So it's at the back where the injuries are getting the bees now with Janssen and Janssen and Henry out. But I will go for the win. Let's go on. Bournemouth versus Watford. Interesting. Rubbing my chin on this one. Bournemouth versus Watford. So Watford are improving away from home and on a win streak and have improved generally since they went to the 4-3-3. Bournemouth are now outside of the top six and a big test for Jonathan Woodgate now, and lost, of course, at home to Cardiff. Watford won't play in any way, shape or form similar to how Cardiff did, but Bournemouth very good on transition and breaking forward quickly. Watford, well, the front three all scored, didn't they? Sema, Sarr and João Pedro. Difficult one to call, though, still, isn't it? Just depends. Do you believe Watford have fully turned the corner away from home now? In which case, how much... I think they're slight favourites, but how much of a favourite do you make Watford is kind of the question in this one. Let's have a look at the league table. So Bournemouth completed their slip. Or let's give Cardiff some credit. Cardiff eventually eked out Bournemouth's lead there and now are above them on goal difference. So Bournemouth outside of the top six with 2 straight defeats. Get your predictions in, by the way. Watford in the 3rd spot, 4 straight victories. And as I keep saying, we are now in cruise season where in the Championship, good teams, they just grind it out now, don't they? They turn up, they don't even feel they've played and they've won the game. Do you know what I mean? It's that's where we are now. And there's certainly with Norwich are in that zone now, aren't they? Where they're just knocking out the wins, aren't they? Their team's settled and away they go. Watford are hoping to eke into that. Still some sense that there's another gear above them. Let's look at the homes and aways. Bournemouth's home form, despite 3 defeats in 5, is still very good. 5th most home points accumulated. Watford's away form is now picking up. Look at that, 11 points in 5. Everyone said that about Watford, didn't they? If the away form moves to what it should be and the home form even maintains or doesn't even maintain, just drops off a little bit, they'll be challenging top 2. And that's the way it seems to be panning out. What are you guys saying? Watford, draw. Watford, draw even. Watford, draw. Watford, Bournemouth, draw. Watford. Bournemouth sounds to be dangerous in attack. Watford defence is generally decent. Away, Watford, Bournemouth, Watford. Draw. Do one to call, aren't they all? Hey, Watford. I think we got all of these ones up here. Let me just bang through these. Nice. The Dan Gosling derby. Draw, Watford, Watford. There we go. I think we've done all of them. Let's go for the win streaks to continue then. Away, which would be very desirable for Cardiff and Barnsley and Stoke and whoever else, Millwall, whoever else is chasing there, Reading as well, who I'm sure we'll talk about in a second. So let's move on indeed. We'll talk about Swansea, who reacted in the best way possible. Swansea versus Bristol City is the fixture, by the way. Reacted in the best way possible to the big defeat against Huddersfield. They bounced back with a win. And then if you now look at the sample size of 5 games, you say, fine, Swansea are in good form. 12 points in 5. And if you're a Swans fan, you just hope that the Huddersfield game was a complete outlier and a freak result. We'll find out in 16 games' time whether it was an outlier and a freak result. Probably find out in 10 games' time whether it was. But another, what do I keep saying? Finely tuned. They just play the fine margin so well, Swansea, this season, don't they? Not much in it. Very good defensively at home. And 6 goals conceded at home. And they just keep getting the job done as they did against Cov. Comfortable defending a lead, though. Make them a good playoff team, wouldn't it? But could be even better than that for the Swans this season. Bristol City, having been on a terrible losing streak, announced Nigel Pearson. He goes and sits in the stand and watches the game and gives a pep talk or something at the hotel beforehand. And they win 3-1 away at Borough. So you tell me, new manager Bounce, new manager Schmounce. Those players need to take a look at themselves if they can pull that one out straight away. But let's have a look at the homes and aways. Swansea, second most points accumulated at home in the division. Only 1 home defeat, only 6 goals conceded. You have more chance of winning at Watford and at Brentford than you do at Swansea. Bristol City's away form, they've got 6 wins in there. And the last one obviously came on it was Wednesday or Tuesday, midweek. 9 defeats in there as well. It is obviously a derby match of sorts as well. The Casey Palmer derby, should we call it? The Corey Smith derby. This is a hard one to call. I'm going to go to your comments first on this one, but I do need to just read out a super chat wherever Steve has put that in. Thank you, sir. Steve's been very kind. A $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Steve. I'll go straight to your comment first. Then a nervy game. New manager bounce. Swans 1-0. Let's go from the top downwards on your predictions here. 1-1. 4 teams could have 5 wins. Wow. We'll dig in the archives for the last time that potentially happened, George. Where are we? Right, here we go. Swans. Pearson now in charge since Wednesday. Draw, Swans. Bristol City, Swans, draw. Swans look a bit fatigued, 1 day less versus the positive Pearson effect, but only conceded 6 at home, draw. Lee Trundle derby, nice. He was a great player, wasn't he? Lee Trundle tried a trick every time he got the ball. He's like Ronaldinho in that regard. I'm not comparing the two, obviously, in terms of the amount of tricks tried. Sorry, no one clip that and say I compared Lee Trundle and Ronaldinho. Shaney, Swans 2-1, 2-0 Swans, 2-1 Bristol City, Swans, draw, Swans. Jeff, take a draw. The Pearson effect. This is all the players running 20% more because they're scared of Big Nige. Very pleased to have Big Nige back, obviously, though. City, Swansea, draw, Swans. Where are we going? Oh, God. Sorry, you got loads of predictions in here. Swans. Pearson, do us a derby. Swans. Draw, home. Swans. Tough game. And here, the one way to guarantee you won't get your comment read out is to put it in capitals with an exclamation mark. So I'll skip straight past that in great S. Housery terms there. Lee Trundle plays for a team 10 minutes away. Does he still do kick-ups in the middle of the game? Lee, legend. When did Nigel Pearson become scary? I think about a minute after he was born, Lee. Right. Draw. I'm supposed to put the picture up, aren't I? Draw. I just think they'll go back to basics, won't they, Bristol City? Being it's a hard game. Swans, low scoring. It's probably 0-0 or something. So I'll go for a draw. And in those big home games, haven't Swansea... No, they beat Watford, didn't they? Drew with Brentford. Drew with Reading, didn't they? Draw. Speaking of Reading, let's move on. Rotherham versus Reading, and two sides on losing streaks here. Rotherham versus Reading. Get your predictions in for this one. There's the table. Rotherham, 4 straight defeats. Ouch. They've moved into the bottom 3. And obviously, you can see down there, we spoke about a rising tide for weeks at the bottom. Well, that rising tide has happened. And this is what's been left as things stabilise. And now a lot of defeats there in the bottom 6 and more, bottom 6. More pertinently, very few wins there. No one in the bottom 6 other than Wycombe has won more than one game in the last 6, which, of course, makes it very hard to get to your point per game parity, which you want to get away from the table. Reading, equally, though, on a very, very poor run. Those 4 defeats in 5 coming against Brentford. Well, fair enough. Millwall, bit of a surprise. Then they beat Bristol City to do for Dean Holden. Then lost at home to Borough. And then lost at Wycombe and missed a penalty as well. And Wycombe had a guy, Tafazoli, got sent off, didn't he? So Reading slipping, needed to stabilise. What we'll say about Reading is they did stabilise after the losing streak that occurred after the first 8 games of crazy points per game for Reading. However, we do have quite a big sample size. I don't know if someone wants to quickly work it out. Actually, I can quickly work it out because Reading got, what did they get? They got 7 wins and a draw. So they got 22 points in their first 8 games, didn't they, Reading? So that means I can take off 22, so 29 in the remaining 24 games. Yeah. Is that right? 29 divided by 24. Sorry, wrong way around. 24 divided by 20. Wrong way around. 29 divided by 24. Actually, 1.2 points per game after the initial winning streak. So essentially, they have been trending down in comparison. Well, I mean, it's hard to stabilise at 7 wins and a draw, but we do have a fair old sample size of 24 games now to tell us that Reading are not at the sort of 1 point. What is it? Let's bring up my fabled spreadsheet. To make the playoffs, you want 1.61, and Reading are at 1.2 for over half a season now. I'm just putting the numbers out there. It does project a slip out of those playoff positions. Can they come back? Who knows? Rotherham in the bottom 3. I've done far too much maths now. My head is hurting. Our home team is Rotherham, who have 4 points in the last 5. They are not one of the worst 3 teams in the league at home when we're looking at the relegation picture. In terms of away form, Reading are good. There's a couple of games in there, though. The draw at Preston and the defeat at Wycombe in that recent run for Reading. So I didn't give them the credit there. 6th best away team in the league, where they would feel with the missed penalties, both from Zhao, that they would have got some more points. Right. What do we got here? Away, draw. We won't draw. What is your prediction? I'm sure it's further up here. Up the mighty Reds. Reading. Draw. Away. Home. Draw. Home. A lot of Rotherham predictions here. Away. Home. Away. Read that one. Pano went uber defensive against Wycombe. Think he'll make a more positive selection tomorrow and may have read substitutions for dummies. That's tremendous. 1-1. Thank you, Jason. Just subscribed. Lovely. Iain, who's our Rotherham aficionado here, will huff puff, hit the bar, then get done by a bit quality. Lose 1-0 again. Come on, Iain, stick in there. We all love Rotherham and how they battle and better run financially than pretty much everyone else in the Championship. Draw 1-0 Reading. My team's poor at the moment. Rotherham need to freshen up. Draw. I love you too. There we go. Right, I think we got all of those in there. I normally will go with Iain on anything to do with Rotherham because he knows more about Rotherham than I do, but I'm going to disagree with him. Draw. It just stinks of two teams that would not like a defeat in this one and aren't quite in the mode to be winning games at the moment. So I will go for one of those draws more by luck than judgment, I think. Right, let's all coo over Cardiff. But it's his old mate Warnock. McCarthy versus Warnock here. Middlesbrough versus Cardiff. Get your predictions in for this one. Borough versus Cardiff. And, of course, I mean, what else do we need to say? So, McCarthy, 2 draws, 6 wins. 20 points in 8 games. Actually, Veljko Paunovic did beat that in his first 8 games, didn't he? He got 22. But what a start by McCarthy coming in and turning that around. And as you saw on the table there, Cardiff are now in the playoff positions on goal difference. Obviously on points per game. I think Barnsley would be above them on points per game. So there is threat behind them. And, of course, Neil Warnock will be telling his team it's a home game. If you beat them, looking at the goal difference, 14 and 13. No, sorry, 14 and 3. Well, if you beat them, you go level on points with 6th place, essentially, is what Warnock will be saying. Mick will, always fun matches between these two. I have to say, from watching Ipswich under McCarthy, Warnock came out on top the last few, but of course he had parachute payments at Cardiff, and Mick had Marcus Evans taking more and more money off the budget each year in terms of salary and transfer spend and things of that nature. Anyway, not that I'm bitter about that. Let's have a look at the homes and aways. And there is Borough's home form, which is pretty bad recently. It had been very, very good with those 8 wins. But look, 6 defeats all season. 4 of them have come in the last 5 games against Bristol City, Brentford, Rotherham, and Blackburn. So pretty poor home run for Borough of late. And look at Cardiff's away form. That's tremendous. 28 points in 16, 4 straight wins for Mick. So really the question is, it sounds a bit mean to Borough fans. Is it going to be a draw or a Cardiff win? I think it just depends how pragmatic these two go against each other. They do love a battle. I'm going to plead the fifth and go to the comments and see what you guys are saying about this one. Borough versus Cardiff. Sam. Thank you. £5 super chat. Before we go to Borough Cardiff prediction, I'll quickly answer Sam's super chat there. What have I made of Stoke? I predicted them to finish in the playoffs. Every time they've got close, they haven't been quite there. Possibly a little too passive and lacking goal threat, aren't they? I think that's what's missing there. I hope that's a fleshed out enough answer. Thank you, Sam, for the super chat. Right, here we go. Owen. 3-1 Cardiff. Draw Tyler. Draw Jack. Dave Cardiff. Nathan Cardiff. Sophie Cardiff. Lee Cardiff. South Yorkshire Derby. Nice. In terms of the dugout, of course, yeah. Borough. Away. Oh, Annie, you have to watch it. It'll be tremendous. That's Annie on that game in the Saturday Super Stream now. He's just nominated himself. Borough need to score first. Defence is vulnerable. Cardiff had 2 long away trips. One day less. Draw. Great working out, Chris. Warnock, 2-1. Mendes Lang Derby. Yep. Aidan Flint Derby. 0-0 thriller. Cardiff. The Sean Goater. What a player he was. God. Let's talk about Sean Goater some more. He was amazing, wasn't he? Just quickly on Sean Goater, he looked like a non-league player, and then he'd get in the penalty box and he looked like Jimmy Greaves or something. Brilliant. Colin to Cardiff, bring their good run to a home. 0-0 Cardiff. Draw. Rudy Justed Derby. Cardiff. Who fit Derby. surely. Let's quickly scroll these down. Warnock quote: Mick used to be my apprentice at Barnsley, and he used to clean my boots. Not very well. Tremendous. Let's quickly click through all of these. Don't think any boards needed in the dressing room for tactics with these two managers. Well, you'd be surprised. They may give off a certain public perception, but neither of them are stupid, are they? But I do think they'll cancel each other out. Draw. I got to stop predicting draws because I think Chris said in the last stream there's only been like 4 draws in 3 entire rounds, which is like 36 games. So I don't know. I'm sure someone will have some COVID theory about why games aren't ending in draws, but they're not. Right, let's talk Barnsley. Barnstorming Barnsley are at home to Millwall. And I'm going to be very snobbish about this because people who don't know anything about the Championship now just figured out that Barnsley are quite good, aren't they? And that they play this way that they've now played for, since Struber was there, tweaked a bit by Ishmael. But looks a lot more viable now, doesn't it? Especially having beaten teams like Brentford and Stoke recently. My hypothesis on Barnsley earlier in the season was, no, they won't get near the playoffs because they can't beat the better teams. But that's now, I can't say that now, can I? Because they have beaten the better teams. So, I mean, look at the table, look at the way they're playing, look at the winning streak. They're only 3 points off 5th place, let alone 1 point off 6th place. So, can they maintain here under Ishmael? Certainly, with 2 teams directly above them in Reading and Bournemouth trending downwards at the same time as they're trending upwards. Anyway, predictions in Barnsley versus Millwall. Millwall are in good form and don't lose many games. In fact, only the top 4 have lost more games than Millwall. That doesn't make them a good side, but it makes them hard to beat. And Gary Rowett has set them up thus, although we all know that Barnsley, who are great fun, aren't they, will just literally sprint at the back 4 with about 7 players for 90 minutes. Or, sorry, they'll do it for 60 minutes, change the entire front 3 and then do it for another 30 minutes, which I do admit is very, very entertaining. I do enjoy watching Barnsley play in this manner. Do well-drilled defensive teams, if they're calm and used to being without the ball like Millwall, does that give them an advantage? I don't know. Let's look at the homes and away. Barnsley are now the 7th most accumulated points at home, and they do have a game in hand on everybody else in terms of home games, and they have 10 points in their last 5 home games. Decent. Away from home, Millwall are equally as good as Barnsley are in terms of being 7th in the league. Look at that. 8 points from the last 4 games, although Millwall fans tell me that maybe Luton were architects of their own downfall with that late equaliser and some playing for time at the end of that game. What are you guys saying in the chat here? Oh, we've got another super chat. Now, that's niche. Anthony, come back with another comment. I'm not familiar with Trevor Eilert, but I'll drink to the super chat. Is it not the Bradshaw? What's his first name? Not Carl Bradshaw. What's Bradshaw who plays for Millwall's Christian name? I can't think. His derby. Anyway. What is it? Tom, thank you, Phil. Tom Bradshaw. Someone had already put it in there. Right. The Mick and Jason McCarthy derby. Love that. Draw. Oh, yes, we're predicting draws for all of Millwall's game now. Feed the goat and he will score. So Sean Goater scored. I'll dig it out for you, Ian, and tweet it to you. Sean Goater scored the best goal at Portman Road once when I was there. I literally wanted to applaud. I think he scored every time he played against us as well. Tremendous. Right. Barnsley. There we go. A draw. Draw. Home. Barnsley. A dull 3-3 draw. Millwall in a 3-3 draw. I'm not having it, Tiny Spot. Barnsley. Let's keep scrolling down on these, but I think you guys have already made my mind up. Eilert, a Barnsley demigod. Pass. 2-1 Barnsley, 1-1. There we go. Let's keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Boom, boom, boom. So you get everything. Tom, thanks everyone telling me Tom Bradshaw's first name. It's difficult. It's difficult. I'm getting so many thoughts in my head at the same time. Excelling Youth Club, 1-0 Barnsley. Nice. Chelsea, Barnsley and Millwall. Was that when... There we go. Pretty sure Trevor Eilert played for Chelsea in the late 70s. New one on me. Look him up. Well, I'm going to go with you lot then. And a rare defeat for Millwall, only the 8th of the season. A 5th straight win for Barnsley, home. Which I have to say, given that I've predicted Reading a drawing and Borough and Cardiff a drawing. Actually, that's a good matchup for Barnsley, isn't it? The fact that Borough and Cardiff are playing each other. So I think I've got Barnsley in the top 6 by the end of the weekend. But we know how often I'm right about these things on these predictions. Moving on, rather than dwell on my own ineptitude, have we already done Stoke? Yeah, they're at Brentford. We've already done Borough. We've done Bristol City. QPR. Oh, crap, I pressed the wrong button. Birmingham versus QPR. Get your predictions in for this one. The Paul Furlong derby. I got there first. Birmingham versus QPR. I'll say it before anyone does in the comments. Birmingham are horrible at home, aren't they? And I'll also say that QPR are in really good form at the moment. And the table tells us that Rangers have street clear of the bottom 3 and the bottom 6 as well. 40 points now. So Rangers focusing more on mid-table now. Everything seems to have clicked into gear there since Charlie Austin and Steph Johansson came into that team. They drew 0-0 at Preston, but I'm pretty sure they've got 6 wins in 8. So they're still in damn good form, QPR. So Birmingham have that one win in there, which, given that the rising tide kind of leveled out, has put them out of the bottom 3. But, I mean, look below them. Rotherham and Sheffield Wednesday haven't got a single point in, the last 3 rounds between them. So it's not taken much to push the needle down the bottom there at the bottom, is it? And Birmingham, of course, it will click into the home record, even though it's normally Jay who turns the machine off every time I do it. But look, Birmingham are dreadful at home, aren't they? 9 points in 16 games. Not only is that off a point per game, but it's utterly nowhere near, incredibly poor at home. Away from home, QPR, look at that. 11 points in the last 5. I suppose that just speaks to their good form everywhere. Will they keep it up at Birmingham? Let's see what you guys are saying. Where do we start? Where do I begin? QPR, draw. QPR. Blues, QPR. Blues, draw. QPR. Blues, QPR. Stick a pin in it. This really could be anything. QPR in the balance. You love to see it, don't you? A symmetrical, what would you call it? Win, draw, loss record. QPR. Draw. QPR. Here's Mr. Dorr. Excellent stuff. Who's probably not going to eat all day. Excellent Forest YouTuber there. Forest derby tonight. I'm sure you'll be watching like this. Although Forest have got the last few games on that one, haven't they? Away, and Karanka to get the sack. Not beyond the realms of possibility. Right. Now, I always do this once per stream. So disproportionately, you guys said QPR would win. So I'm just going to play my one joker here because it amuses me to do so. Home. Let's just go for a random championship one there. All the logic says QPR will win, so I'll go for Birmingham just because the championship. Moving on. We haven't done Preston yet, have we? Preston versus Huddersfield. Get your predictions in for this one. Preston versus Huddersfield. Neither of them are in good form. I'm sure we'll get one prediction for them both to lose in this one. So Preston, since Davies and Pearson left and Bowers out injured, and then a load of players came in, they just kind of haven't got the new sort of Alex Neil Preston team number. I suppose it'd be team number 2, really, wouldn't it? Haven't really got it stable yet, have they? And the results show that, and they're into the bottom half now at 14th. Only 4 points in the last 5 for Preston. Huddersfield have had that horrible slip now, and that win in there, that Swansea one. Again, we said in terms of it in Swansea's results, will it be a massive outlier? Will Swansea now pick back up? What about in terms of Huddersfield's results? Will it be an outlier in their results too? Now, remember, Preston really suck at home as well, don't they? Preston, 22nd in the home table there, just off a point per game. So kind of in survival mode at home, but much better away from home. Where Huddersfield are not very good, only 10 points from 16. So this really has the air of 2 teams who are not in good form. The team that's playing at home isn't very good at home, and the team that's playing away isn't very good away. There's just no logic pointing us towards any particular conclusion here. So I'll go to the feed and use that as my logic. What are you guys gonna say on this one? Let's start with that, Liam. That is absolute fake news. No allegiances. Never think my clothing has anything to do with any football team other than that Ipswich scarf up there, which stays on the wall and not on me. Away win. By the way, something in the works for the wall over there coming up. Right, Liam away. Sophie, Preston. Draw. Preston. Corberon sacked and replaced by Paul Cook. Can we not have him at Ipswich, Blue Terrier? According to lots of rumours I've been hearing. Nil. Huddersfield, nil. Gordon's alive. Huddersfield far too slow and methodical. You may be, and Lewis is well positioned to speak about that, having watched Philip Koku, where we could describe him in the same manner. Drew says Evan, Preston, baby Leeds. I'm not going to comment on that. Preston, Huddersfield, Preston. Draw. We actually conceded 6 goals to Huddersfield. That must be a Swansea fan, mustn't it? Looked like they downed tools last week. That's not good. Preston have scored 1 goal in the last 5 at home. Huddersfield not 1 in 11. Draw, home. Someone will know that. Can someone look that up for Grimpsoft, Yo, Life? I say everything slowly now in case it spells out something badly. I don't fancy Huddersfield. And like Lewis said about this overly sort of methodical, when it works, it's brilliant. And their highlight reel of goals is amazing. But I think Alex Neil will up and atom intensity pressing. Home. So I'm going for a home win. Do you know I've only got 1 away win in my predictions, which guarantees that one of the next 3 is going to be an away win, doesn't it? Here we go. Blackburn versus Coventry in the... did Colin Hendry used to play for Coventry? I'm definitely going for Kevin Gallagher. I'm definitely going for Roy Wegerle. Let's go for the Kevin Gallagher derby here. Blackburn versus Cov. Blackburn are on a losing streak, aren't they? I know they played Watford, but look, 5 straight defeats up there for Mogger and Blackburn. They're down in 15th position now with sort of Forest and Derby beneath them trending upwards as well. And you wonder where the notional line is for Venky's and Mowbray, in terms of a league finish or a sort of projected league finish, but not looking good. And that with a front 3 of Armstrong, Dack and Elliott the other night. So some sense of underachieving in a very bad run. Coventry are still above a point per game. And they had slipped over a sort of 12-game run, hadn't they? And then they stuck a win on the board. So they are still projecting above 46 points. And remember, the 10-year average is 45 for survival. So they're looking all right, Coventry, but they just need to, a win and a draw every 4 games will do it for Cov, won't they? And there's only 14 left, and they have got games on the board as well, with Rotherham still 16 to play in the bottom 2 with 15 to play. So this season of all, you want games on the board. Anyway, let's drill down into the game. And Blackburn's home form, 7 points in 5. It's okay, isn't it? But back-to-back home defeats against Preston, which we did as a watch-along, and against Watford the other night. Watford trending well at the moment. Coventry's away form is poor. Only 10 points all season, only 2 victories, one of which came very recently at Millwall. That's a weird one, isn't it? Saying how hard Millwall have been to beat this season, how bad Coventry are away. I'm going to struggle to pick this one. Let's go to the comments. But we have a super chat from Owen. Excellent work. Loving the boxing Roo. Now, can I point to it? Can you see him? It's hard to point. Let's go. Their area is above my head. Oh, and that was sent to me by a fan who's living in Australia. So hence the boxing Roo. If anyone wants to send me anything for the shells there, please go for it. Adam Armstrong derby. That was an open goal that I missed, wasn't it? Right. What do we got here? Okay. Tyler, Cov. Excelling Youth Club, Blackburn. Callum. Always like to hear from Callum about Coventry. Don't have to play any of the current top 6 again. Good news. We've been playing well recently with Blackburn losing 6 in a row or something. I think we can nick it. Cov. Nice. Rovers. Yeah, I missed that one, didn't I, Nathan? Silly me. Tony Mowbray, though, he literally managed both, didn't he? Incestuous game, this one. Blackburn, says Sophie. Neil says Owen. Thank you again, Owen, for the kind super chat. Neil, Cov, Blackburn. We're all over the place. So I don't underestimate anybody. You won't get that on this channel. Excelling Youth Club. Draw, Rovers, draw, Cov, Rovers. David Speedy. He went to Liverpool, didn't he? When anyone who Liverpool signed and played up front scored 25 in a season, didn't they? Blackburn, Sterling, Coventry 1-1 away. Blackburn nick it. Draw. Bye-bye, Steve. Thank you, sir, as ever. Blackburn, Cov. Here we go. We've learned so much about Trevor, Aylett, or Allett, however it's pronounced. Rovers, says Charlie. Are we there? Rest in peace to Alison's father, of course. When we played Cov, evidently 5 or 6 still in the effects of COVID, and we were poo. Chris's words. On the basis, I haven't gone for many away wins here. And purely, that is my logic. Away. And you just missed something funny. I tried to write away with my pen. That would teach me to sit here clicking my pen in irritating fashion, won't it? Right, here we go. I'm really interested in your thoughts on this one. It's Derby versus Forest. Oof. Now, before COVID, I'd been to most of these games covering the Championship. Obviously, always eager to get to the big Derby games. Derby with a small D, not with a big D. And they always let me down, I have to say, including Sheffield United, Sheffield Wednesday games. Lots of 0-0s, lots of tight games. Everybody's scared to lose. Now, whether that changes or not without people in the ground, I don't know. To be fair, Villa Birmingham never let you down. That was always good fun. But Derby Forest, they've been really, really tight recently, haven't they? And we now have Chris Hughton, who is the master of tight games, and Wayne Rooney, who seems to know how to set up a team to defend. So this could be another tight one, couldn't it? Derby versus Forest. Get your predictions in. And really, we've got similar stories. Both sides have essentially changed their managers and improved a lot. And they're both started from very low positions, and they're both trending upwards into more realistic positions closer to where they'll ultimately finish. It's a flip of a coin, this one for me. The Derby home record. Wow. 4 straight home wins for Derby, and they've only won 5 at home all season. So they're really improving at home. I bet they haven't conceded many goals in any of those games either. What do we got? Sorry, I'm trying to hover So they beat Huddersfield 2-0, Borough 2-1, Bristol City 1-0, and they beat Bournemouth as well 1-0. So, well, it's typical Rooney, isn't it? Hard to play against, hard to beat, hard to score against. Wow, look at Forest's away form as well. 4 draws in 5. This is so hard to call, this one. It seems so evenly matched that a draw seems just too obvious to go with, doesn't it? The Dexter Blackstock derby. Come on, it's the Brian Clough derby. Right, what else have we got? The Lee Camp derby. Right, here we go. Forest draw, Nathan Tyson derby. Forest, Clough derby, Cyrus Christie derby. Nice. Draw. Rooney's lot 2-0. Derby. Draw. Home. Glenn Murray will be the difference. Interesting. Got to love Glenn Murray still doing the business at 37 in 2021. Forest draw. 17 different pairs of that is sensational. Dave, can I have that? 17 pairs of managers in the last 10 fixtures. That is the best stat I've heard all day, Dave. Dave, give me a thumbs up. Can I tweet that in a bit? That's sensational. Christian Bielik will be lucky to score because he's out for the season, excelling youth club. Right, let's get some predictions here. Forest 2-0, 0-0. And 0-1 Forest, Houghton to score and sit back and defend. Beat them with Garner and Kravinovic. Draw says Neil, not convinced about Forest. Only one team's in and around them. Derby 2-1. Derby, the Lee Camp derby. I'm watching Forest on Wednesday nights. They're quite acceptable to set plays. Derby are very good at set plays, aren't they? Fancy them to nick it. Derby, that is. Forest, Derby, Forest, Derby, Forest. Bang, bang, bang. Dave, are you happy for me to tweet that? I don't want to steal your work without telling you. Without your permission. Then it's literally not stealing. James Garner Masterclass. I'll look forward to it. Please join me tonight. I'm very interested in this one. Could be attritional, but it'll be a good old battle, won't it? And I'm so sorry. All the logic, don't give me that sit on the fence nonsense. All the logic says draw. And so I will predict a draw. Right, finally, Luton versus Sheffield Wednesday. And it is at the Kenny. Do you get the sense a little bit with Wednesday now that that they had their flurry and that was that? I hope not for their sake, because obviously we've got a lot of Wednesday friends and it's a big club and good for subscribers. But may the best team win, as I always say. Luton versus Sheffield Wednesday. There's the table. Luton have got 38 points from 31 games. So despite the fact they're 17th and it's been a bit of a downward trend for a couple of months, they're still well above that points per game parity, and evidence of a potential rising tide is subsiding as the rounds go on now, isn't it? So Luton look fine, and big picture they're doing very, very nicely. However, there's not been too many wins of late for Luton, and they're going to be really cheesed off with conceding that 95th minute equaliser against Millwall in the week. And Wednesday, after the flurry now, it's only 3 points in the last 5. Yes, I understand they would be in, level with Coventry on 34 points, but it is what it is. You've got to play the hand you've dealt, and the -6 points is the hand that they've been dealt. Let's have a look at the homes and aways. Luton recently at home, 5 points in the last 5, so points parity there, but no win in 4, making that Millwall equaliser even more irritating. Wednesday away from home, I think that's going to be a win over Bournemouth, isn't it? Yeah. And that was that a bit of a perfect storm on Tyndall's last game? I don't know. I remember watching it saying something doesn't look right here. This looks like this is done. And I was right the next day when Tyndall went. But lots of red circular L's, well, white L's in a red circle before anyone pedantically corrects me on that. Oh, I think I'm going to go ahead of the chat on this one. I think Luton win this one. I think this one is going to be home and a Luton win. Let's see what you guys say. Have we got any Wednesday fans in here? Yeah, we've got Jim. I think Wednesday might struggle to win another game all season as it stands. Can't score any goals. Yeah, not good. Not good. Anything. Right. How high do I have to go for this? Here we go. Luton. There you go. Even the Wednesday fans are agreeing with me. Draw. Luton. Draw. Must win for both. Luton. Where are we going? It's true. I might get another Sheffield. Might get one Sheffield club in the Championship next season. 2-0 Luton. We've already read Jim's one there. 2-0 Luton. Luton not too bad at home. Should have enough to beat injury suspension here. Wednesday, who are poor away. Anyone else here? Russ is down with 7 draws on his. How many have I got? 1, 2, 3. I've got 4 to be fair. Luton. Regret saying easily. Let's keep scrolling of that one. 2 years since Benaloon scored in 7. I was there, Owen. I was at the game, my friend. Home, draw. And I have gone for Luton in that one. So there you have it. Now, I will not run through my predictions quickly because that is a Patreon exclusive. So if you do want to go and get involved, you get that every time we do predictions. You get the quick pre-seed 4-minute version. We're coming up 57 minutes on here. You might enjoy this even more, but plenty of other reasons to subscribe on Patreon. Exclusive Q&A every Thursday. We're doing classics reviewed with Dave monthly now, closing in on another exclusive show as well. And lots of, we're trying to add more and more over there. So please feel free, go ahead and subscribe over on Patreon. Thank you for the super chatters. There was loads today. So thank you so much. Really, I raised my can of Pepsi to all of you guys. And of course, if you're still watching, and as ever, please, if you see a thumb up, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to shout out, write it in there right now, and I'll give you a shout out before the video ends. But first of all, we say thank you to our great friends, the Donovan brothers, who sponsor this show in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, a lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. Thank you to the Donovan boys, who I did a long Skype call with earlier in the season. Great bunch of guys, and we thank them very kindly for their help. So here's the plan. 7:30 p.m. tonight, watch along, Derby versus Forest. And then tomorrow, Super Stream, 1:30, we'll catch the second half of Bournemouth and Watford. We'll be done by about 5:10, but for you dearly departed people, if anything crazy happens in Villa Leeds, we'll review it straight afterwards. If not, there'll be a Villa Leeds, the dearly departed Classico. There'll be a Villa Leeds review on Sunday morning. Then I think the plan is going to be to watch along Wycombe and Norwich, and then that'll be me done for the weekend. And then we'll be back on Monday in this slot on 1 p.m. And that will be the Championship review for all of these games that we've just, no doubt, completely unsuccessfully predicted the results for. So, looking like a good, fun weekend of stuff ahead. Do keep in touch over the weekend. Do join me tonight for the watch-along, Derby and Forest. And do join me for the Super Stream, which is just one of the most fun shows we do. No prep from me at all. Just turn everything on and let it go and watch the carnage. Watch the carnage all happen. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And I will... Oh, there's a good one. The Scott Oaks Derby. We didn't have one for Luton versus Sheffield Wednesday. Thank you to Mr. E. And we will be back tonight. Have I put it for 7:40? I think I'm starting at 7:30 tonight. And I might go and try and sort my lawn out on the first dry day or 2 dry days in a row. How rock and roll that is. Right. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it is a lovely big over and out from me. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button to see more videos from this channel. Hit the subscribe button and to be notified every time we upload. Ring the bell for those notifications to come through on your device. If you really want to support the channel and me as a content creator, I will be eternally grateful if you head over to the merch store and grab something, or support over on Patreon, patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. Thank you for your time. Go and watch another video.